At Mallister Partners, no one ever noticed Sarah Bennett. She was just a janitor, an invisible figure in a world of high-powered executives, moving through the halls with quiet efficiency. To them, she was nothing more than a background presence, someone to clean up after their mess while they basked in their own importance. But they had no idea who she really was. Sarah wasn't just a nameless worker. She had the power to bring down everything they had built, and when the time was right, she would do exactly that. A company built on success and corruption. In the heart of Chicago stood Mallister Partners, a prestigious consulting firm catering to Fortune 500 companies. The towering office building was a symbol of ambition, drawing in the sharpest minds in the industry. From the outside, it was a beacon of success, a place where the elite thrived. But behind those polished glass windows, beneath the high ceilings and designer interiors, a different reality existed. The employees who truly kept the company running, the janitors, the assistants, the administrative staff, were treated as insignificant. Their work was unnoticed, their presence barely acknowledged. And among them was Sarah Bennett, the forgotten founder. Years ago, Sarah had poured her heart and soul into building Mallister Partners from the ground up. It was her company. She had established it with a vision, one built on hard work, respect, and integrity. But life had other plans. After facing severe health challenges, she had stepped away, trusting a board of executives to continue what she had started. And from the sidelines, she had watched as her company flourished, but at a terrible cost. The very principles she had built it on had eroded. Greed had taken over. Arrogance ruled the offices. Ethics were a thing of the past. So, she made a decision. She wouldn't storm in demanding change. No, she needed to see things for herself, to witness firsthand what her company had become. And the only way to do that, she would blend into the shadows. Sarah took the job as a janitor, trading her position of power for anonymity. Every day, she observed, she listened, she watched. And what she saw, it disgusted her. The toxic culture. Each morning, before the office came alive, she arrived with her cleaning cart. The halls were silent, sterile, cold. But Sarah didn't just clean. She studied. She noticed the way power shifted, how executives spoke to their subordinates, how some people wielded authority like a weapon. One man in particular caught her attention. Jack Reynolds, the CEO. Tall, confident, and unbearably arrogant, Jack carried himself like a king. He saw everyone beneath him as disposable, including his own employees. Even the receptionists, the assistants, and the interns weren't safe from his condescending tone. But Sarah, she saw through him. Jack had long forgotten the values the company was founded on. He didn't just dismiss those beneath him. He crushed them. His right-hand woman, Claire Williams, the COO, was no better. She delighted in belittling lower-level staff, making sharp remarks about how replaceable they were. And one day, Sarah heard something that made her blood boil. A conversation that changed everything. While scrubbing the floors outside Jack's office, Sarah overheard a conversation between him and Claire. "The janitorial staff is getting expensive," Claire scoffed. "Honestly, why do we even need them? Our offices should be spotless." And yet, Jack chuckled. "Oh, come on, Claire. They're easy to replace. It's not like they have the skills to do anything else." Sarah's grip tightened on the mop handle. This was it. This was exactly what she had feared. A company with a powerful trampled on the very people who made their success possible. But she wasn't ready to act just yet. She needed to wait for the perfect moment. Jack's biggest mistake. Jack's arrogance wasn't just about status. It was personal. As time went on, Sarah noticed his behavior toward her shifting. His words became sharper, his tone more suggestive. At first, she brushed it off, thinking it was just his nature. But then, one day, as she mopped outside his office, Jack strolled over, smirking. "You know, Sarah," he said, his voice dripping with false charm. "You could put in a little extra effort. especially when someone like me is watching." Then he stepped closer, his breath cold against her skin. "A woman like you deserves better than this job. If you cooperate, I can make sure you get something much, much better." Sarah's stomach churned. This wasn't just a comment. It was a test. Would she submit? Would she break? She refused to give him the reaction he wanted. "I'm happy with my job. Thank you," she replied, her voice steady despite the disgust rising in her throat. But Jack, he wasn't done. Each day, his advances escalated. His words grew bolder, his touch lingering just a second too long. And then one night, he took it too far. In the dimly lit parking garage, Jack cornered her. His voice was low, predatory. "You've been working so hard, Sarah," he whispered. "Maybe it's time you get rewarded. If you play along, I can make sure you move up." That was it. Sarah had endured long enough. She locked eyes with him, her voice sharp as a blade. "If you keep this up, Jack, you'll regret it." For the first time, Jack hesitated. There was something in her tone, something he didn't expect. And that's when she knew it was time. The takeover. The next morning, Sarah didn't walk into Mallister Partners as a janitor. She walked in as the rightful CEO. Dressed in a tailored suit, her presence commanded attention. Whispers filled the air as employees noticed her. The woman they had overlooked, the woman they had underestimated. When she entered the boardroom, Jack and Claire barely glanced at her until she sat at the head of the table. Their faces turned pale. "This is a joke," Jack stammered. You're the janitors." Sarah met his gaze unshaken. "No, Jack," she said coolly. "I'm Sarah Bennett, the founder and owner of this company." Silence. Shock. Then fear. Jack tried to protest, but Sarah didn't give him the chance. "You're fired," she stated. Within minutes, security escorted Jack and Claire out. The toxic culture they had nurtured, gone. Sarah had reclaimed what was hers, not through vengeance, but through justice. As she stood by her office window, overlooking the Chicago skyline, she felt something she hadn't in years: peace. Her phone buzzed. A message from a trusted ally. "We're in this together. Let's rebuild." Sarah smiled. This was just the beginning. And as for Jack, karma always finds its way back. Moral of the story: never underestimate the quiet ones, because when the time comes, they rise.